Hello class. I thought I would work out for you this problem that was a take-home problem on Test 2 Spring 2015. Here it is in case you don't remember, but you can find it in the course documents of Blackboard. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've typed up the data. So basically you need to generate a Lorenz curve for two Lorenz curves, one for year 1 and one for year 2. So the first thing you need to do is you need to sort this income, because remember the Lorenz curve goes from the poorest family to the richest family. So the way you can do that is you just grab these things, come over here to the data tab and hit sort, and then of course Bill Gates thinks you've made a mistake, but you really haven't. You're just trying to sort that one column, so you continue with the current selection and OK that, and now that year is sorted. And we want to do the same thing for year 2. So just grab it like this. Okay, so now they're sorted. Now the next thing you need is over here in these columns you're going to need the percent of income. And to get the percent of income you need to know what the total income is for each year. So down here I'm going to get the sums. So that's the sum of income in year 1, and then this would be the sum of income in year 2. Okay, so right here let's put percent, let's do it this way, percent income year 1, and in this column let's do the same thing except it'll be percent income year 2. And the way you do that is, of course, it's the income, which is that number right there, divided by the total, which is this number down here, and then I'm going to use F4 to nail down that cell B16 by getting those dollar signs in front of it. And if you really want to put in percent, you need to multiply the whole mess by 100. So obviously it's 0% for the 0 family because they didn't have any income, but check this out. So this poor family here has about a half of 1% of total income, and then we can grab them all like that. So this rich family, right, had 26.9% of all the income. Okay, now I want to do the same thing for year 2, and then of course it's the income from year 2 divided by the total for year 2, which is this number down here. I'm going to hit F4 to nail down that cell and then multiply by 100. Okay, and then if I copy that down, here's all the percent incomes for that one. So look at here, there's a really rich person in year 2 that's got $1 million income. That's 40% of all the income in these 12 families. Now if I sum all this up, which is this formula down here, remember these were sums, if I drag this over I can check my work, because these two squares, this one and this one, should be the sum of all these numbers, and it should sum up to be 100%. All the families' percent income added up needs to be 100. If it doesn't, you have a mistake somewhere. Now I'm almost done, but what I need to draw the Lorenz curve is not just the percent of the income, but I need the accumulated percent income. I need the accumulated. So of course the first one is 0. Right? Now what goes here? Well, what goes here is the income of the first family. So this is year 1, right? So here it is right here. The first family, the poorest family, had that. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to add to it what I had before, which is up there, right? And then I can copy all that down and you can see that it's accumulating. Now notice when I get to this last square, when I let go of this mouse, that last square should be 100% because I'm accumulating them all up. And it is, so I haven't made a mistake. Good for me. Okay, let's do it for this one. So you just grab the 0. Now in this cell is the accumulated income we're doing for year 2 now. So there's the poorest family in year 2 plus whatever we had before, which is that, right? grab all this down here, and it should be 100%, and it is. Hey, I'm doing great. Now the next thing I want to do is I need to draw my Lorenz curve. I'm going to draw it in this space over here, and to get the drawing functions that come up in Excel, I just need to go to this Insert tab. Now here are my choices. I can have a column graph, a line graph, a pie chart, and so forth. The thing I need is this scatter. It's unfortunate that Bill Gates has named it this, but if you look at all of them, you will discover that the scatter plot is the only one that will allow you to have an X variable and a Y variable. So I'm going to pick that. You could do your Lorenz curve in dots, but that would be kind of weird. I usually pick this one down here because this is the most realistic one. This one makes the curves a little curvier and a little smoother, but I usually pick this one. Alright, so now thankfully Bill didn't try to get ahead of me and figure out what I wanted my data to look like, so now I can do it. So I'm going to right click in this box. Well, that didn't work. Yeah, right click in this box, and now I'm going to go to Select Data. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have three graphs over there. One is the line of equality. Right? So let's do that one first. So the line of equality is just a straight line. It starts at 0, 0, and it ends at 100%. So the easiest way to do it is to find one of these columns that's kind of clear. I need something that goes from 0 to 100, and I have these two right here. So I can grab this one. Right? And then for my Y values, the same thing. And that should give me my line of equality. Let's see if it did. Yeah, there we go. Now, I just realized that I've left out something. I have what's going to go on my vertical axis, the accumulated percent of income. So these two things are going to be the vertical axis of my two Lorenz curves. But I don't have the horizontal axis, which is the percent of the families. What I have is the actual families, 1 through 12. I need the percent of the families. So I'm going to kind of squeeze that over a little bit, and I'm going to put the percent of the families here. So the percent of the families, obviously that's 0. That's just for my plot. And then the first family, this family right here, is 1/12 of all the families, right? Because there was 12 of them. So it would be A4 divided by 12, and then times 100 to get it into percent. So there's the percent of the first family. And then the percent of the first two families, oops, sorry. The percent of the first two families, wait, this is kind of crowding me. Let's move it over. The percent of the first two families would be this. So that's just 2 divided by 12. Then 3 divided by 12, 4 divided by 12. This one down here would be 12 divided by 12. So there's my percent of families. Okay. So now I can plot. So let's go back over here to my graph. Okay. So I right click to get this menu to come up. Select my data. Now I've got my line of equality. Now I'm going to add year 1, the Lorenz curve for year 1. And my X values are going to be the percent of the families. That's this, right? And my Y values, got to get that mess out. I don't know why Bill Gates put that in there. My Y values are the accumulated percent of income for year 1. That's this. Okay? So let's look at it. Hey, there's our Lorenz curve. So far so good. Now let's do the one for year 2. So again, if I just right click in here, I can select data. Now I'm going to add, and this one I'm going to call year 2. My X values are the percent of the families again, and my Y values are the accumulated percent of income for year 2. And there we are. So there's my two Lorenz curves. Now you can actually clean it up a little bit if you want. I'm not really asking you to do that, but you can clean it up. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay, so the first thing I can do is notice that this runs from 0 to 120%. I never need it up there, so I'm going to force it to be 0 to 100% by right-clicking on this axis. I get this thing format the axis, and the maximum number is on automatic. I'm going to set it to fixed, and I'm going to fix it at 100%. Okay, notice how it did that. That's good. I can do the same thing over here by right-clicking on this axis, format the axis. The maximum value, I'm going to fix it at 100%. There. So that's a little better. And then you can put a title in, you can do other things, whatever. But this is what you need to do this question. It says build an Excel file, prepare the data for constructing the Lorenz curve. We did that. Use the XY graphing function to construct two Lorenz curves. We did that. Display your graph under a separate tab. I didn't do that. So the way I can do that is I think you know, I've kind of forgotten how to do that. There's a way. Anyway, you can figure it out. It's funny. I can't figure it out at the moment, but there's a way to do it. Then you are to interpret this. So if you look at them, you will notice that it looks less equal in year 2. Year 1 looks more equal than year 2. But if you go back to your original data, the last question says, well, okay, which one looks more unequal? And then the last question says, well, which one is actually better? And if you look at the data, year 2 is actually better for everyone. If you just back up, let's back up. Hopefully it'll let me get all the way back. Okay, so this is the original raw data, and if you look at this, every family is better off in year 2. The poor family went from 15 to 25, the second poorest family from 2,000 to 210. Every family is better off. Every family. So this is one of the drawbacks of the Lorenz curve, that even though every family is better off in year 2, when you look at the two Lorenz curves, it looks less equal in year 2, which leads you to think, well, year 1 must have been better. But in this particular case, no, year 2 is better for everyone. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful. Good luck as you prepare for our second test.